Welcome to another Run On Air video. Back on the ESQ-1 this time. I'm looking at the extra waveforms which you can get if you upgrade the software. So I'm going to quickly look inside the box and see how that's done, and then I'm going to have a look at the waveforms themselves, try and get some idea of what it is you actually get, and then I'm going to have a look at programming a few patches based on the extra waveforms that we've got. Quite a bit to get through, so better get on with it. First of all, let's have a look at where we get the software from, and it's the bookty.net website, which is all about Ensoniq and other stuff as well, but it's always the Ensoniq I end up going to. ESQ-1 and ESQ-80 in particular. So create your own customized ESQ-1 OS v3.5 version. So this is the default setting as it is. You could certainly have a go changing some of these things, but the main one I wanted was this one. So give access to the hidden waveforms, and then create customized version, and then you just download these. Because there's two EPROMs that need to be changed. Now the key thing is that when you create the new EPROMs, make sure they are different EPROMs to the ones you've already got. So don't overwrite your existing software, because if it goes wrong, then you've basically got a dead synth. Not that it couldn't be brought back with the appropriate software, but you don't make your life any more difficult than it has to be. Buy the extra EPROMs, program them, try them. If they don't work, then at least you can swap back. Once you've got that, then it's really a matter of burning the EPROMs. Now that's something I didn't do myself. A friend of mine helped me with that, so I can't show you that particular part. I'll just have to skip ahead. So first of all, I'm going to make sure the power's disconnected, and then find the right bit. There's no significant obstructions. Oh, that's a pain in the backside. I have changed these out before, but I forgot the keyboard's in the way. And that's a bit of a pain. Why did you do that? It's going to be a bit longer than I thought then. Okay, I got the keyboard out, and I can now get to the EPROMs, which are here and here. So, swap them out. Got this tool which is designed for removing ICs. It's a little bit tricky though, and you've got to be careful. So just going to make sure all the pins are straight. Looks okay. And get the orientation correct as well, which you can see there's a little indentation there. You can see it on the motherboard and on this socket here as well. The key thing is really to just make sure that all of the pins go in, and you don't have one which is sneakily sticking out somewhere, and then you're left wondering why it's not working. Okay, looks okay. Thing is, I can always put them back if it doesn't work. So okay, I put the keyboard back in. I've not screwed it in yet. All I want to do is just test that the software is going to boot. Ah, look at that. You see right at the beginning it said 3.53. So do we have any sound? We've got sound coming up there. It still works. That's the main thing. Let's just check to see if the new waveforms are available. Wow, I wasn't expecting 127 of them. So I've had a quick scan through the waveforms, 127, 128 waveforms. So that's a lot to go through. So I can't possibly go through the whole lot in this video. It's just going to bore everybody to death. So I'm going to sort of cherry pick them a bit. Now, some of them are quite similar, and I'm going to try and find the most interesting ones. But the thing that really characterizes them is that they are, shall we say, a bit random. So from that point of view, usability, well, I think you've got to be quite creative and really think about how best you can use them. All right, so waveform 32. It's quite usable. It sounds like an electric piano sound to me. Bit sort of oboe-ish. Okay, so I think this is the first one where you actually start to get a bit of discrepancy. So it's all sort of consistent. So you can see it's jumping around in octaves. That's difficult to use. I mean, if you wanted to sample a particular sound, then it'd be fine. I mean, that's quite a nice waveform. It seems what we've got is we've got multi-samples across the keyboard, but then they're in the wrong octave, so it's all a bit jumbled up. This is incredibly high, this one. So that one seems pretty consistent, number 42. It seems you've got something like a kick drum, which then turns into a waveform. .45 is quite consistent. That's really interesting. So it's really consistent until it gets to the top. I quite like those alias sounds anyway. Now this is where it starts to get interesting, number 49. Now this is where we have these sort of strange loops. I really like the clickiness on that one as well. It sounds like a sample from an analog synth to me. Very resonant. And that seems to scan go through the entire keyboard. Let's just take that up. Yeah, those sounds are kind of useful as effects, and that's sort of fun. But I think if you speed them up till they become pitched, now I think that's where you can really start getting some interesting sounds. I'm going to look at that later on when I start doing some programming. 53, this is also quite interesting. So this part is based on the noise sound, but this is something else. This one actually sounds like a metal ruler on a desk. So the main thing is there's a lot of these starting at 51. Quite ominous, that one. I suppose the things I'm looking out for are consistency. There's got to be a track in that one. Yeah, I love that. I really like that. That's really good. So that one's a bit of a lucky dip. So I'm just wondering if it's going to be like this all the way through, because it's difficult to know whether any of this is usable. I mean, I think we're hearing the same sounds, but they're all mixed up in slightly different ways on each one, which of course has very little use to it. I suspect that will be the case. You got to be joking. So 117, suddenly you get a coherent one? That is insane. See, that's more coherent as a... I'm going to write that one down because that's a sort of noise. Okay, so I got through it. I've got through them all, and I think we can say that at the beginning they're reasonably coherent, and then at waveform 51 we start getting the loop effects, and there's quite a few of them. But then it starts to go really incoherent, and the various zones of the keyboard are split, and you get effectively random sounds happening at different parts of the keyboard just isn't very usable. And then occasionally you get something that is. So 117 was a usable sound, and 122, if you put it up an octave, is a usable sound as a sort of random noise generator. Okay, I think I've finally got something which doesn't sound too bad. So let's just quickly go through what we've got here. So if we have a look at oscillator 1, I've got wave 68. I've tuned it so that it should be more or less in tune with the other oscillators. And the other oscillators, I've just put on some standard waveforms, saw and pulse, octave apart. I've not even done any fine tuning on there to make it a bit richer, which I guess is something I could do. I've got a little bit of a short envelope, bit of an attack sound, but the key thing is that if we go underneath the modes, you can see that the sync is on. You only get a little bit of the wave 68 sound, that sort of randomness. It's continuously syncing with oscillator 2, and then that gives it a sort of dirty lo-fi type sound, which is what I was going for. Filtered, obviously, but I've got it on the mod wheel so you can hear it. That's nice. Right, what I'm going to try is to do a sound which uses more than one of the loops. So this will probably be some kind of strange effect, but let's just see what we can come up with. I think for now I'm going to turn the sync off. Okay, so we've got that one to start off with. Let's introduce another one then. So let's just check. So we've got 64 at 0. So let's try 65. Okay, so much brighter sound on this one. Let's try those together. Pretty crazy stuff. Okay, so let's put a third one in. Try 69. What's 69? So it's kind of interesting. So if we move, I'm going to move everything up 3 octaves and then see if I've got something that's playable. I think I'm going to take it down an octave on each one of those. You've still got those rhythmic elements to play with. well, there's plenty there to experiment with. Yeah, I think there's definitely some uses there, and it's better to have something than not have something, even if there's some quirky stuff. Now, I've not really looked at the more coherent waveforms. I'm not too sure whether they're just repeats of some of the other ones or not. If you know, let me know. Let's have a quick look at one I prepared earlier. It's an adaptation of the original Piano 1 patch. First of all, I turned on the sync. In actual fact, oscillator 3 is off. The only output is actually from oscillator 2, but it's being synced by oscillator 1. So oscillator 1 has got waveform 64, but the pitch of oscillator 2 controlled by the wheel, but its real pitch is actually coming from oscillator 1. What I like about this is you get quite a sort of dirty, distorted sound. ESQ is reasonably good at that anyway, but if I take this down. It's simple but slightly distorted, dirty sound. Certainly appropriate for an electric piano, something like that. Yeah, so I think I've got a couple of reasonable-ish sounds out of that. I think in order to get the most out of those waveforms, then they probably need their own dedicated synth engine for each one of them. And obviously you just can't do that with this. It's still better to have those waveforms and not have those waveforms. So there are definitely things that you can do, and it's worth looking at. I would say the upgrade is worth doing as long as you don't mind the potential risks of destroying your machine. So I hope that's been of interest. I think at least you've got some idea of what it is that you can get out of the box with the software upgrade. So I expect I'll be back doing another ESQ video at some stage. So if you'd like to catch that and possibly some of the other synths that I'm looking at, then please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be much appreciated. Until next time, bye.